Hi everyone, this is our weekly update and it's going to be an important one because as a reminder, we are getting to the end of Unit 1 with your homework set 2 and the Waka Stack activity due on February 8th, so that's this coming Sunday. And as I mentioned last week, that means that the next assignment, which is also the last one for Unit 1, is going to be your first exam. So I know exams can be a stressful part of a course, but I can assure you that for this one, you have plenty of ways to prepare. There is still also some time, and I would really encourage you to check out the information and mainly use the practice test. So I've mentioned a little bit about that last week, but just again going back to the exam one information. So what's going to happen, right, is that your last assignments for Unit 1 before the exam are due on February 8th. All right, so that means that you will have completed everything by that point, which means that you should be ready to take your exam at this point. So on Monday, February 9th, Monday morning, your exam is going to open. Given that we have a holiday weekend coming up, so usually it opens from Monday to Friday, but Friday is a holiday and so is the following Monday. We have a 4-day weekend coming up, so I pushed back the deadline, so you actually have over a week to complete this one. So you have from Monday, February 9th to Tuesday, February 17th to complete this exam. It is timed, so once you start, it essentially it starts a clock for 3 hours. However, it's only 35 multiple choice questions, and you should easily be able to complete the exam within an hour, maybe even less. And so what I would encourage you to do in terms of assessing the amount of time that it takes is to actually try the sample exam, because it will give you an exam with the exact same format, except it's not graded, it doesn't count for credit, and it will give you 35 questions on the same themes that are used for the actual exam. So if you have time, I would set aside some time and take the practice exam in real conditions before you take the real one and see how you do. That way that will tell you, okay, I should go back to chapter 1 or chapter 2, etc., and see or if you feel ready, then you're ready to go and you can go ahead and take the actual exam. I will also make sure that you don't wait until Tuesday night to take the exam, Tuesday night being the 17th when it's due, because you have 2 attempts. So you have 2 attempts available. So even once you take the actual exam, if you're not happy with how you do, you have another chance. All right, so unfortunately, if you start Tuesday night, you may not have time to take it again, right? So make sure you plan accordingly and you give yourself plenty of time if you want to take the second if you want to use your second attempt, and practice until you feel ready, right? So you have this practice exam here that is already available, and you can take, I think, 99 times, which I don't recommend, but it's there and available for you. Okay, so plenty of time, right? Where today is February 6th, this is due February 17th, but so this is your actual exam. Start planning, all right? So once you're done with homework set 2, in your activity, chapter 2, right? Take the practice test, see how you do. If you feel ready, take the actual exam. If you're not ready, go back and study a little bit more and take the practice test again and see if you did better. And again, make sure that you time things so that you have enough time to take the second attempt. Okay. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Again, you should have plenty of time to finish, but do keep in mind that you have 3 hours. This is also to encourage you to finish in. If I don't put a limit, you may spend way too many hours trying to complete this exam. It shouldn't take that long. Okay. If you have any concerns, questions, please do reach out. All right. Things to start thinking about too. I'll push this back also. I'm realizing this says February 15th. Start talking with your group, right? And start figuring out your project, what you want to work on. I think the most important part is to connect with your group to make sure you're all on the same page. You don't want to be that person who's not communicating with the group. And I just posted, was it yesterday, a video, right, and an announcement to talk more about project part 1. So make sure to check that out. And we also continue. We have so many chapters to cover, right? So we're going to also continue with the material starting now. Unit 2, Mechanics 2. So quick overview, you can see that we're going to again talk about some very important concepts with this unit, starting with work and energy. So here work is in the context of physics, of course. We're going to be talking about momentum, then oscillations and waves. We're going to shift and look at rotations, fluids, and then that will be the end of Unit 2. So you can see this will take us through mid-March, and then soon I'll be posting Unit 3 if you're eager to also continue. All right, but for this video I want to focus on chapter 3, which is work and energy. You can see just by looking at this unit that it's organized in the same way as the other one, where we start off with a short chapter introduction, right, looking at the textbook, looking at our learning outcomes for this chapter. So here again, more definitions. We're going to talk about work, but this is going to be work done by forces. So something that we've talked about in the previous chapter. And this is really important because you'll see that when we talk about work and energy throughout the semester, most of the chapters, if not all of them, will talk about energy in some way. So understanding what work is, and essentially looking at how we transfer energy from one object to another, and how we can relate that to energy and different types of energy. So we're going to look at kinetic energy, potential energy, try to understand what they all mean. We're going to talk about conservation of energy and look at when energy is conserved or not conserved. So very, very important. And also a lot of you have mentioned this as part of your topic for potential topic for your project, because when we talk about sustainability, energy comes up a lot in various forms. It could be sustainable, it could be reducing our energy usage, and so understanding how we measure energy, how that's different from power. So we're going to talk about also how power and energy relate. But lots of important concepts here. Again, we have these intro videos that tackle some aspects of this, and then we have our pre-chapter check. Again, this is not for credit, but it can be helpful in assessing if you know anything about these topics already, right? So here again, I talked about, so we're going to define work, and we're going to see how work and kinetic energy are connected. Then we'll be looking at potential energy, how that's going to relate to some forces, then conservation of energy, power, and after that you have additional resources where there's some simulations and other reading if you're interested. And then after that we jump to the homework. All right, and the activity, which is a discussion based on a video. So I'm not going to play the video now, but you'll see that in this video, this is actually a company that uses, so you can see these large concrete blocks essentially to store potential energy and use it later on. So it's interesting because we can see how energy can be transferred between various systems, right here we lift the concrete blocks. To do that we use electrical energy. It could be something else, right? You could be using solar energy and whatnot. As they lift, we increase their gravitational potential energy, which is something that you're going to be learning about in this chapter. So then the blocks essentially store that gravitational potential energy until they are released later on, and when they are released, that energy turns into another form of energy. So for this discussion, you want to think of another example of energy transfer and share your example with the group. Make sure that you then contribute to 2 other posts, right? It could be that their example is similar to yours, or maybe something you had not thought about before, or in a context that is interesting to you. And that's it. So again, we have a big week coming up. The good thing is that we have a 4-day weekend, so extra time for all of this. And please, if you have any questions with the exam coming up, don't hesitate to reach out. But I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Reach out if you need anything. All right, thank you so much.